Guys, okay, welcome to another session with Sid. I am Sid on Learn with Sid on YouTube. So today's session is session number 22, and we're looking at maths. So yesterday I got mixed up yesterday, and I ended up doing a science session when it was meant to be maths. But we're on track now, so we're going to do maths today, and then it's going to be Thursday and Friday. So tomorrow and the day after, I'm going to take a break from YouTube because I've been doing, this is session 22. So I've done 22 daily lives back to back, and I need a break for Easter. So I'm going to take a break tomorrow, the day after, and then next Thursday and Friday. But every other day I'm going to be doing a live. So the next art session now is going to be on Saturday. Okay, so today is going to be maths, and then Saturday we're going to be doing art. So let's see who is watching today, and I'll give you guys a shout out. So if you're watching live, let me know and I will give you a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from, and who's watching with you, how old you guys are, and I will let everyone know that you guys are watching. So today's session is going to be about decimals. We're going to be looking at the decimal point and how it works with numbers. Okay, so we're going to be looking at session 22, decimals. You're going to need some paper. We're going to need some felt tips. If you want to use a pencil, you can use that as well. And I want you to submit your work in after you've completed it. I haven't put up yesterday's work. I'm getting a bit lazy, aren't I? So I'm going to be putting that up at some point today as well. So if you want to send in your Newton wheel videos, do send those in because you've still got time to get those in. The ones that I've seen look absolutely amazing. Right, so let's have a go at sharing with you my screen. Okay, so today's session is session number 22, decimal places. And we're going to have a look at what we're going to be doing today. Right, so this is my piece of paper. I've got loads of paper over here. So what we're going to write on here is decimals. We've got Hannah and Aman watching. You're regulars. So let's see what you guys can do today. So we're going to write in the middle, decimals. I'm going to make mine bubble writing. So decimal places you would have heard of. Okay, we use decimal places in maths to represent a number which is smaller than 1, or it's got parts of it in there. So 0.5 is the same as half. Okay, so I'm going to write decimals is my heading there. It's gone kind of up. It's not even a straight line. That's fine. Okay, we've also got Musa, age 7, who's watching from Romford, and with little sister Zaina, age 4. So thank you guys for watching. You've become regulars as well, haven't you? So we're going to look at decimals today, what decimal points really are. So we come across them in maths. Some of you might not have even come across them yet. So we'll talk about what they are. So I'm going to grab some colored felt tips, and I'm going to write here some numbers. So we're going to start off with the number 3. Okay. Now, one thing you got to know about mathematicians, and it's true for some scientists as well, is that we guys are lazy. We don't write things unless we really have to. So this number, this 3 is units, okay? This 3 on its own is a unit. So I'm going to put a little u there. Now, mathematicians are lazy. They're missing off stuff that this 3 has, and that is it's got a decimal point. But we don't write that in normally until we need it, okay? So this 3 has got a little decimal point, but we don't need to write it in there until we need it. So I'm going to draw it in because we're talking about decimal points today and decimal places. And I'm going to, let me do this in a blue color. So we're going to draw an arrow and we're going to say decimal point. That's basically what it is. It's like a full stop for a number. But in a sentence, a full stop goes at the end of a sentence. In the number, the decimal point goes after the units, not at the end of a number, after the units. Okay, so you've got a unit here, and because mathematicians are lazy, they don't always put the decimal point there. So we've got Rhubarb is watching. Hi from Toby and George. Thank you for watching, guys. Again, you've become regulars as well. So we've got a number here, 3. 3 is a number. It's a unit. Okay, and if you want to, you can put a point at the end of it, so it becomes 3 point, and then I can put numbers after it. So we've got loads and loads and loads and loads, and we could go on forever. It's got loads of zeros, but we only put them in if we need to. Now, if we had to put all these zeros in every time we write a number, we would have 1.000000, 2.0000, 3.000. So we don't put all of these numbers in, okay? Because they're a bit lazy. So we just miss everything out and we just write the number 3, okay? But sometimes we have to put the decimal places in. Right, so let's have a look at some of those scenarios. So if we have half of something, so this is a fraction half. My one's gone a bit wonky. Let's write it straight. Half, okay? So we talked about fractions before. A half in decimal places, decimal points, decimal places, in decimals, I should say, is 0.5. 0.5 means a half because a whole number, so this is one whole, this is one whole. Remember, your 1 is 1.0, okay? And well, 1.0000. This is 0.50000. But if you want to match up these points so you can see what it looks like, you've got 1.0 here and 0.5. Now, some people find decimals so complex to do, but if we were to match these numbers to the same number of decimal places, so this is one decimal place, this is 1, because it's one number, one digit after the decimal place, one digit after the decimal place, that's one decimal place. Okay, one decimal place, one decimal place. Now, both of these numbers are to one decimal place. Let's compare just the digits. Forget about the decimal point now. Let's forget about that decimal point. We've got 1 0. 1 0 is like 10. We've got 0 5. Can forget the 0 in front, okay? And that just becomes a 5. Now, if you look, 10, if you've got 10 of something, 10 sweets, and I want to take half of those sweets, I've got 5 left over. 10 sweets, when I take half of them, I have 0.5 left over. Okay, so if we've got 1, it's 0.5. If it's got 10, it's 5. So this is just another way of writing a number. So let's have a look at some of these decimal points now. This number, 3.75. How many decimal places do we have? By the way, guys, this is one DP. 1. So 1 DP means 1 decimal place. How many decimal places do we have here? We've got 1, we've got 2. So this is, could put it in brackets, 2 decimal places. Okay, this is a unit, and then these are decimal places. Okay, and let's have another number. We're going to have 40.156. How many decimal places do we have now? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So I can write this as 3 decimal places. Now, when we come to adding decimal places, there's a little trick you need to know, okay? So if we were to add a number, what would we normally do? So we've been doing this in our maths camp. We've been adding numbers together. So when we add a number together, what we do is we line up the units. So if we have 14 plus 5, we line up the units and we line up the tens. And then what we do is this is units, this is tens. Then we add up the units and then we add up the tens. Okay, so guys, tell me what the answer is to that. What is the answer to 14 plus 5? If you could tell me the answer, I'll write it there. Right, while you're typing that answer to me, I'm going to move on to a decimal addition. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is we're going to do 0.2 add 1.51. How do we add decimals together? Well, you know the rule when we're adding normal numbers, we have to line up the units. That still applies when you've got decimal places. You need to line up the units. Forget about the decimal places, line up the units, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to write units. So this 0 is a unit. So we're going to have 0.2, okay? This 1 is a unit, so we're going to line that up. And now I've run out of space. Then you add these up together. You put another 0 in there to make it the same number of decimal places. Brilliant, guys. So you've all said 19. Right, I'm going to write this up again over here, and I want you to have a go at doing this one for me. So we've got 0.20 and 1.51. We're going to add these up. What's going to be our answer? It works exactly the same way. The only thing I've done is I've lined up the units. Okay, we don't line up the last number. I didn't do 2 and 1. Nope, I lined up the units, and then the decimal places, first decimal place is lined up, second decimal place is lined up. Okay, what is the answer to this? 0.20, 1.51. Who knows how to do that? We do 0 plus 1. What does that give us? Brilliant, we've got an answer already. 5 plus 2, 7. That becomes 1.71. Okay, notice I don't say 71. So there's a couple of things we need to notice when we're dealing with decimal places. Right, so we're going to make a decimal place rule book. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to create a box here, and I'm going to write over here decimals rule book, and we're going to write a couple of things that we have noticed today with decimals. I'm going to make it look like there's screws in the corner. Right, let's have a go with this then. Okay, so the first thing that we've noticed is that decimal points come after the units. Okay, so rule number 1. Rule 1. And we're going to write decimal point is a dot after the units. That's rule number 1 that we've learned. Right, rule number 2. What was rule number 2, guys? Rule number 2 that we noticed, one thing that we've noticed here is that we can have a number of decimal places. You can have as many decimal places after the number, okay? So we won't write that as a rule. Let's do a rule for adding. Okay, so when we're adding, what do we have to do? We still have to line up the units. When adding decimals, brilliant guys, you're sending in your answers. When adding decimals, line up the units first. Brilliant. Okay, that is our rule number 2. Okay, rule number 3, what else did we do? When we say a number after the decimal point, we always say it as single digits. So for example, we say 1.71. We don't call this 71. This here is 40.156. We don't call it 40.156. That's not what we say, okay? So rule number 3. We say the digits separately. Okay, this is where I can't spell the word separate, guys. So if you know how to spell separate, is it A-R or E-R? Separately. I have no idea. Is that right, guys? Let me know. Say the digits separately when we say the digits separately when we talk about numbers after the decimal point. After decimal point. These are your rules for decimals. Okay, so this is what you need to know. These are the basics that you guys need to know. And if it's the first time that you've looked at decimals in your life, hopefully you've learned something new. And if it's a recap, you probably used some of this already. But how interesting is it how we don't pronounce this as 71? We say 1.71. This is 3.75. We never call this 3.75. Now some kids do, and that's not technically right. So mathematicians would just say 7.5. They'll say 0.5. they'll say 1.0, okay? And mathematicians are really lazy that normal numbers, they will ignore the decimal point completely. Now, I want you to color this in, and don't forget to put your name at the bottom. You can write rules, or what you could do is you could give me some examples of these and put some examples in. So I've written my name, hashtag Maths with Sid, a quick introduction to decimal places there for you. Maths Camp this week is looking at calculations. Next week, we're going to move on to, I think it's fractions. Is it fractions next week? Let me just have a quick look. What are we doing next week for Maths Camp? Let me just have a look. Maths Camp next week is fractions. So if you enjoy the fraction video on YouTube and you want to learn more about fractions, then sign up to our Maths Camp. We're working on cells and tissues and organs this week for Science Camp. And next week for science, what are we doing? We're doing space, which is going to be really nice and exciting. So if you enjoyed the Big Bang and learning about the sun, then that's going to be a good one for you to do. Okay, so I'm taking a break tomorrow, and I'm taking a break Friday. So Thursday and Friday this week, there's going to be no Learn with Sid on YouTube. I need an Easter break. So instead of taking a break on the weekend, I'm going to be taking a break during Thursday and Friday this week and next week. So let me know, guys, if you have been enjoying these videos and whether there's any particular topics that you want me to have a go at. Okay, so this was at a request. So Misbah requested that we do stuff on decimals. So I've done stuff on decimals here. Decimals are really difficult to make visual as well. Okay, so hopefully this has helped a little bit and can be the start of you doing some more work on decimals. So you can color in your rule book, make it look nice and exciting. So I'm going to put some lines through here, and I want to see your submissions by 6 o'clock tonight. I'm going to put that into a video. I've still got to do the Newton's color wheel video. So if you've still got your color wheels to submit, you've still got time to do it, guys. So send those in. Let me know if there's any particular requests, and I hope you guys have a good 2 days off without seeing me, because I'll be back on Saturday looking at an art topic. So I've got loads of art activities in mind. We're going to be looking at something else on Saturday. Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up on the YouTube link. Put your comments in, share, get your friends to submit and to like and to subscribe. And I'll see you guys on Saturday now.